Yeah, what were the gobbos? Why were they called gobbos?
Load of shite.
Hello and welcome to the Video Gamer UK podcast. My name is Chris Brett, and today joining me on the cast, I'm going to start calling that. What do you think? Cast?
Don't like it.
No. Can't we be guests?
We've got, not really, because you hear all the fucking time.
Special guests.
What do they call them on Serial? Suspects. Can we be suspects?
Esteemed
It's a very different kind of
hosts.
podcast, that.
Yeah, but is it really?
Yes, yeah, very different.
Are you sure?
Yeah. GTA Online is totally fucking fucked, says David Scammell. I don't really know if that's what he said. I just looked at the title of the video.
You've put words in my mouth there entirely, but...
He doesn't like games, but he does like Resident Evil. And he's probably going to talk about that quite a lot today.
Yeah, this is
Steve
entire
Burns.
podcast is going to be about Resident Evil.
Does it have to be?
And speaking
doesn't
of
have to
which,
be.
he's probably got more Ubisoft stuff to talk about as well, hasn't he? Over there.
Shut up,
There's Jim
Brazzers.
Trinker, Mr. Ubisoft himself.
Piss off.
How are you, Jim?
I'm fine.
Sorry,
I've mostly been playing GTA 5 actually.
I'm comparing it to Far Cry 4.
I did actually do that.
I'm sorry.
I was playing GTA 5 in first person.
Yep.
And that's how I'm doing
Is
my
it
playthrough.
weirded you the fuck out? I keep saying fuck.
I said yesterday to
Something's happened to you. You were off yesterday and something bad has gone down in your life. You've changed.
What's happened now?
You didn't get your hair cut.
I'm really pissed
Victoria
off at
didn't sort your hair.
Why?
And you're very disappointed.
Why with the in-jokes all the time?
Bratters was your favourite hairdresser not there?
It was a new place. It was the Tony
Hold on,
guy
you didn't
downstairs.
go to my head. Oh, Bratters, I get money off if you go on like my behalf, essentially.
That's unbelievable.
No, it's not.
We need to split that down the middle,
It's just
otherwise
a
that's not
hairdressing Ponzi scheme, isn't
that's
it?
not going to work.
Fuck.
All right, there we are. Good. I think
Do you want to tell the story of why you didn't get your hair cut?
No, not really. It's not interesting enough.
It's
I don't
something
know.
to do with a New Zealand and an Amsterdam
There's a man from New
person.
Zealand living in my kitchen, and he's quite loud, and I couldn't get to sleep, and I had a very early haircut planned, and so,
And you weren't looking your best.
yeah.
I mean,
And you can't go into a haircut not looking all right.
I had to cancel a haircut the other day because it was on a Saturday.
Your hair didn't look good enough.
No, exactly. I was like, how am I? I'm not going to wear a hat. How am I going to get there? No, it was on a Saturday morning. I don't know why I'd booked it that early. And then I woke up and it was about 10 minutes to the appointment. I was like,
This is
Oh,
ludicrous.
God,
probably not.
I think we're all really shit people.
Well, I called and said, listen, I'm
Speak for
sorry.
yourself.
I won't be able to make it. And they were like, no worries, Steve. And I was like, shit, there you go. It's all fine.
Put the champagne back on ice.
Yeah, exactly. True facts.
I get my wife to cut my hair
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I cannot be fucked with the whole hairdressing experience. It just stresses me out.
It stresses me out as well. That's why I'm quite.
I would
picky
rather
about
have a
what I do.
shit haircut off the woman I live with than pay for a decent one that I have to go out and sit down for.
And talk to the talking.
I think I'd be all right with the
Chat's fucking
talking.
horrendous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean you think you'll be? You must. Who cuts your hair?
I'm like Jim, except I don't have a wife.
Jim's wife cuts your hair. Unbelievable.
But wait, does your girlfriend cut your hair?
Yeah.
Does she actually?
It upsets Brett immensely.
Oh,
What?
He's probably just felt that you're talking about
Wait,
that
hold
now.
on, I
It's
missed
well
this.
funny when they were talking about it the other day, and Brett gets really fucking upset, and he's like, "You fucking Melvin!" Storms out. And everyone's like, "What's upset him?"
What's up with
But why? Why is he upset about it?
Home.
Why
He
is
just, he just can't believe it. He can't believe it's a thing that happens with
It's-
people.
But that is a thing that happens. It's not. It's not fucking.
It's because I don't get the Adidas logo shaved on the back of my ears.
Yeah,
Saves cash as well.
Brett's hair is just something else. Isn't it? It's like it looks like a troll.
It's good. It's good. I quite like his hair. It's
Really?
it's wavy
I think it's
and short at the same time.
Yeah,
There's a
I
lot
think it's
going
a
on
bit
there.
severe. Needs to be a bit more blended,
Yeah.
in my professional opinion,
All right. Good.
as a well-known
As
hairdresser.
a video game journalist.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, anyway,
Okay.
should we get on to the video games?
Speaking of professional
I think
opinions.
that's
Yeah.
why he wears purple trousers, just to distract from the top bit of him.
Exactly. Exactly.
I feel like this is workplace bullying.
he does look a little bit like Pagan Min though. If his troll hair was
We said
blonde,
this. Did we say this yesterday? We said this about someone yesterday.
Stop saying troll hair.
it's got. You remember those
I
trolls
do remember trolls.
where you
Right.
could just brush their hair and stuff.
Your
and
GTA 5 character looks like Pagan Min.
He
That
does,
was
yeah.
it. That's
Yeah,
what it was. It
that's what
wasn't
it
Brett.
was,
It
yeah.
was the GTA 5.
But it's like we were playing it yesterday. We were
Lots of
playing it yesterday,
similarities.
and Dave was like, when we were shooting that video, and Dave was shooting that video,
Yeah.
fucking hell,
Yeah.
when we were recording that video,
Shouldn't it?
and Dave was like, this character's just like alternate universe Burns.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's how I
see
want
Every
yourself
time
as
they
a
cut back to
dictator.
his apartment and he's in the shower and shit, and it's like press right on the D-pad to go to bed, and he just gets in bed in his fucking clothes, like
In a suit
Yeah.
jacket.
I want to be killed walking out of a high-end clothing store and just getting gatted. Just been like, this is the moment, bang, now come back to life.
The thing
That's
is,
right.
if you did take control of a country, you would act like pagan Min.
No.
You would.
Yeah, blatantly. I can take control of a house party
You'd
and
be
act
any-
like pagan Min, Dave. So if I had a whole country, like,
Christ, what a freak.
I'm sure, like before Far Cry 4 came out, I heard you use the phrase, "I use my words very carefully."
well,
I'm
yeah.
very particular about
Well, maybe
my
you should have
words.
listened. All this could have been avoided.
All right, good.
Video
Thanks-
games.
Thanks for that. Should we talk about one?
Yeah?
Anyone
No.
in particular?
No.
Who's got a good video game?
They're all
Who's brought a
shite,
good
aren't
video
they?
game to the podcast today?
Me?
You brought a good one. Is it Resident Evil remake? Is
Yes.
that how you call it? Is that
Are we allowed to talk about that?
Yeah?
Are we?
We can
Resident
only
Evil
talk
D
about
remake?
the first hour and a half.
Oh, smashing.
Did what I see? Did that constitute the first hour and a half?
Pretty much, yeah.
Good.
Well, I had to have a
Probably
bit of back and forth with the PR because they were like, you can only talk about up until when the first Crimson Head appears, which is about an hour and a half in.
But I thought it's a remake, right? Not a.
Yeah, it's like a remaster, essentially.
So what? Why the hell? Is there a remake?
You're not allowed to talk about. You can talk about the content, but not necessarily about the quality of some of the
That
remastering
seems
past
a
a
weird
certain point.
restriction for
The
that
thing is,
kind
it
of
is-
Why? Is that because it changes?
Well, it's a preview build, so essentially, some of the environments are more finished than others, essentially. But the ones
Right.
that are finished,
Okay.
are they look good? You saw it, Dave, didn't
I
you?
did.
It
And
looks, it looks incredible. I
Right.
remember because when we first got it in, and Steve summoned me to the games room. It was just playing through the first few bits. It just looked incredible. I couldn't believe it was like fuck. I mean, the last time I saw it, I think this is based on the GameCube remake essentially. But the last time I saw this game, it was the PS1 version, and it's
Yeah.
just
Oh, we
what they've done with it is
We did a
incredible.
little comparison thing of like the in Evil Within. There's a throwback to when you first meet
Yeah.
a zombie, right? And it's recreated. And we kind of looked at those side by side, and Jesus, that game doesn't look anywhere near how I remembered it.
No, but so let's just call it the remake, even though this
Okay.
one's remastered. The GameCube version isn't totally different. It keeps the same game flow and the same basic structure of the house and the grounds and all of it, but adds quite a lot more in there. So if you've only ever played Resident Evil PS1 or the Saturn version, if you were in like fucking jail or something, that's the only thing you get your hands on. It is completely different, and I think it looks very, very good, but I think if you came to it thinking this is going to be it's going to blow you away, to use that horrible fucking phrase, I don't think it will, in terms of just looking at it straight away. There are problems in the early going with the characters, the models themselves look quite good, but they're a bit expressionless, and they sometimes, especially in the first hall, the first room you go into, it kind of looks like they've been plonked onto a diorama because the floor is so reflective that their movement seems a little bit unnatural around it. However, that's pretty much the only, one of the safe rooms in the game. Everything else just looks like it's falling to pieces, or it's really dank, or horror movie shit essentially. So you lose that polished look in terms of all that, and your character looks fine within those environments. There are problems with aliasing, and some of the textures do look a little bit low res, but Resident Evil Remake is a game about mood, and after a while, sorry, I'm just adjusting my webcam.
Yep, sorry.
And after
Good.
a while, you just kind of forget about all these kind of little problems, and you're just onto it. It looks, and in that regard, in terms of the atmosphere it generates, they've done a fucking good job.
Scamel's about to wade in with something about the resolution. I can feel it.
He knows me so
There
well.
he is. There he is.
Brad, shall we go for dinner tonight? I feel like we're getting on really well together. No, but that's the thing, right? Because I've only really seen the screenshots and a bit of video footage. And I thought, because these are essentially the assets from the GameCube version, right? That are
Yes.
up-res to this. And I thought, the characters will look fine, because they're all polygons and that will look great. But the actual backgrounds, they might look a little bit fuzzy or a little bit blurry. And actually, when I saw it, I was surprised by how good it looked. I mean, there is a little, you can tell that they are up-res. You can tell that there's a little bit of blur going on to sort of mask all of the artifacting and things like that. But it's surprisingly good looking, actually.
I think some of the elements that Capcom put in the original release of the remake to mask those things work just as well. So you'll go into, because they're drawn, the backgrounds are drawn, they're pre-rendered essentially. But when you go into like certain rooms, there'll be candles kind of flickering, and there'll be something to draw your eye to what they want, the atmospherics of the room, rather than looking at every kind of pillar and going, that's a bit jaggy. So the game for the GameCube already had a lot of those elements in play. And so, yeah, you can tell they're up-res. You can tell they're not native to this generation, certainly. But I think they've done a pretty good job considering what they had to work with. I mean, if you look at it, people will moan, but if you were to look at it against the PC if you were to play it on PC, on the Dolphin emulator, you just upscale the characters, but it can't upscale the backgrounds because they're renders. It looks terrible on that. Whereas in this, everything has come to a nice, it's a nice package.
So how have they done it though? What have they done?
Well, they must have the original art.
Yeah,
and then
they must either be working from really high res versions of the original backgrounds, or they've re-rendered them, because there's a lot of the stuff where you look at it and you're like, that's definitely not a GameCube asset. It's too detailed. It's too high res. So yeah, but it looks really good. I was quite surprised. The other thing as well that surprised me how well it worked was the widescreen cropping,
the pan and scan.
Yeah, the pan and scan when they announced that was going to be happening, and a lot of people were like, I'm not sure. Actually works really well. The panning that comes in play often feels like just a slow camera move, essentially, that almost adds to the tone of it.
It doesn't feel that the movement of the scanning, as it were, the panning or whatever, is generally to do with which way your character is moving in the frame. So it kind of moves. So if you're coming down the stairs, an example in the first hallway, you come down a set of stairs to go around the back of the staircase. It will just come down very slowly with you, and then it'll go up if you go back up the stairs. So it's not like, say, VHS pan and scan releases for movies where there'll just be weird shit on the edge of frame. Where, like, I think there's one in The Matrix where Keanu Reeves got 3 arms because someone else's arm is in the shot, but when they come across from the negative or whatever, they're like, oh, well, fuck it, like, and so you don't really get any of that. And after a while, it's quite a subtle effect. So after a while, you just forget that it's kind of happening, especially seeing as you run through most of the rooms in the game at least 3 or 4 times. So you just don't. After a while, it just doesn't really affect you.
It's weird. It's like something they shouldn't even have needed to talk about. Really, they should have just gone, not even mentioned that there's pan and scan, and just gone, it's a remake. And then people would have just seen it when it came out. Oh, the camera moves a little bit. And
they do give people the option though. So if people do want to just see the full frame 4:3, they can.
Yeah,
fair enough.
You won't necessarily be getting the benefit of the up-res then. So
also, they've changed the controls. The controls, when I started, I put it on widescreen, see how that works, and put it on the new controls. New controls are essentially just completely analog. Whichever direction you press is the way the character moves, which is not the way they work originally.
I think I prefer that.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Up is always up.
Yeah.
I mean, I never understood people who didn't understand that. It's like, up is always forward. It's like, so you don't get that. It's a game where camera angles constantly cycle to different parts of where your character is in the frame.
Yeah.
So why would you want it to consistently change your input? So up is always forward in the original. Here, it works okay. The main problem is that you now move very quickly. So if you wanted to turn in the older controls, you would actually turn.
Yeah,
you see the character rotate their
like
body.
tank controls, right?
Yeah. In this, they instantly turn and start running the other way. And so it's a really bizarre feeling. It feels like you're skating around. It doesn't feel like you're as anchored into the world as you are with the tank controls. I mean, one thing that Resident Evil always got right, I thought, was that even though it had these controls that a lot of people liked, you always felt like your character was moving, especially when you're injured and kind of limping along. It felt like you were there, which is quite an achievement for what is essentially a load of drawings that your characters are moving through. The way they're animated, the weight associated with them makes you feel that they are actually in this environment. With these new controls, you move so quickly, it just feels like you're piloting someone rather than controlling someone with inertia and weight. So I'm not sure I would get used to it.
You see, I'm kind of thinking the other way around for me. Like because I couldn't really associate with the tank controls, and it kind of felt like I was guiding a character rather than actually I feel like I'm the other.
Well, so to that regard,
but then I'm not a huge resi nut like
no.
you are,
I mean,
you know
if you feel like that, and a lot of people do, I think it's not valid. I mean, the complaint wouldn't have been there since 1996 or whatever if it wasn't. But the options are there. It's not like they've just pissed it out. I mean, they've actually had a bit of a thing. There are still, like, gameplay wise, it's pretty much exactly the same.
When was the last time you played it before this? Has it been a while?
It's probably been close to 10 years. I mean, I used to be really good at it, really good at Resident Evil Remake. I knew where everything was, but 10 years is quite a long time. And I was like, fuck, man. At one point I picked up an item and I could not remember what it was for. And I was like, what is this wooden mount for? What the fuck? And I thought, they've added new items. But whereas, say, Resident Evil Director's Cut added a new arrange mode where items were in different places and enemies were advanced mode and stuff like that. That's not here. It's just the game you remember looks better and has different controls if you want them.
I think that's maybe the key thing to take out when you say it has been pissed out by Capcom. Because I think the general feeling at the moment in the community, in that community, is that maybe it does feel a bit like, Capcom after a quick buck, just sort of up-res.
There's a lot of remakes going on right now, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
if it doesn't feel like that, then that's great.
I wouldn't say that they didn't see the opportunity. No. I'm not saying they're being very kind of altruistic or whatever about it. I would say that, if people want remakes, that's fine, or remasters as it were. And also, Resident Evil Remake for me is a fucking stone classic. And no one moans when The Godfather comes to Blu-ray. It looks better, it plays better, it's easier to, fucking get hold of and do, essentially. So why is that a problem? As long as they're not, just going, there you go, it's the game. Like they did with them on Wii, didn't they? Resident Evil Archives. They just re-released the GameCube version. It's that can fuck off, essentially. But this one, no, the backgrounds have been redrawn. They look really nice. The character models look really nice. It's still stupid as fuck. I mean, you find a character called a Crimson Head Elder. The Crimson Heads are, if you down a zombie, it's like Evil Within. This is where Mikami took it from. From his own game, you have to burn them, right? However, you meet the first kind of big boss you meet, actually it's a sub-boss, is the Crimson Head Elder, the first instance of zombies coming back to life. Later on in the game tries to bring logic into what is an extremely illogical thing in this remake. And they're like, you read this report and it's like, oh, we encountered the first Crimson Head zombie, which came back to life. We've dealt with it it's like you're in a room filled with test tubes, gigantic tubes, where they could have just put it in for stasis. And it was too valuable to destroy, so we froze it, put it in a coffin, and then rigged the coffin up to the ceiling in a room surrounded by fire. It's like, okay, so how do you get him out? You have to find these 4 masks that are hidden around.
Right.
It's like, but what if we need? No.
What about the tests? How do you do the tests?
And it's like, what? And so, but once you get him out, there's a key to escape the entire house. Like, why have you put the key in? We need to get out of here. Put the key in the...
Just write the report.
In the coffin. Right. It's like, oh, shit. Oh, well, we're fucked anyway. So stuff like that. It's still as goofy as you'd imagine it to be. But miles better than Resident Evil 6.
Can we have Dino Crisis remade, please?
Dino Crisis 2. See, Dino Crisis, the original, I thought was okay. Dino Crisis 2 is so good.
We could get a PC version, time with Jurassic World, mod it with our own Chris Pratt.
Nice.
Yeah. You see what I did there, kind of?
Chris Pratt is
Chris Pratt. Yeah. I've seen a lot of talk about Chris Pratt last night.
Yeah, everyone keeps saying he's handsome.
Everyone's getting very
I try and
horny
squint
for Chris
and pretend
Pratt.
they're talking about me.
He is a handsome man.
Did you? So hang on. Can we just... So you saw these tweets?
There's a lot of people saying he's a handsome man.
I did see particular tweets.
He is a handsome man, to be fair. I'm not against that idea.
Getting very, turned on by the idea of Chris Pratt. So you've looked at these tweets and you've gone, imagine that was me.
No.
That's one letter away from being me.
I was one letter away from being really handsome.
It was one night you was trying to convince people that Chris Pratt was a fucking blood relative. And then
that's not true.
After about 30 seconds thought, people were like, no, that doesn't
That's not true.
Doesn't work.
You've made that up, Jim.
But speaking of games and Jurassic World... So we saw the Jurassic World trailer. But yeah, it's not very good. But it seems like they're now following like total video game convention. Yeah, people are really bored of normal dinosaurs. But when's this set? Like what?
Yep.
So we've made a hybrid dinosaur.
Imagine
It's like,
being in a world where a normal dinosaur is just all right. I've
fuck
seen that before.
guy. Oh yeah, I get it. It's like, so we've made this hybrid dinosaur. Like,
Yeah.
What could go wrong? It feels like a Dino Crisis sequel.
Oh yeah,
Like,
definitely.
Chris pretty much says that during the trailer, doesn't he? He's like,
Yeah,
I've played Dino
That doesn't
Crisis.
sound like a good idea.
but his lines are so.
Yeah.
I mean, they're bad, and you can tell he's doing his best, but
It's like he's talking to the viewer all the time. Like
it's like he's essentially filling in the role of a trailer voiceover man.
Yeah.
Well, we got it depends what they cooked up in their lab. It's like, okay, I get it. And then that bit at the end, people are going mad for. They're like, oh, he's riding a motorcycle next to Velociraptor. It's like, that doesn't even make any sense. What are you saying?
I agree, but that part of the trailer is the bit that I liked. I'm all about that. Riding alongside his raptor buddies on a motorbike.
Oh,
yeah, let's do it. All right, I'll watch
they're
that.
clearly trying to get away from Bigosaur there. I mean, they could have made that a bit clear by him like turning around.
Bigosaur?
That's what it's called.
The hybrid.
The hybrid, I've dubbed it Bigosaur.
Bigosaur.
Yeah. You know, and where's this T-Rex at? You know, I know it's just a teaser. The T-Rex will turn up like it does at the end of the original Jurassic Park, just stealths its way in. It's like, yeah, no one here. That
Yeah,
T-Rex
and then
just
you have
come
to
in.
fight it with the raptors and a motorbike. Yeah, that's all right.
Oh, Jurassic Park's
That's okay.
Jurassic Park's piss.
No,
It's so
Nope.
bad.
Nope, you're gonna upset a lot of people.
So,
Stop.
I don't
Stop
give a
it.
fuck. Like,
I would love it though if they put dinosaurs in Far Cry 4. Because that game looks amazing. It'd be a perfect setting for a Jurassic Park game.
they probably will. Next,
They probably won't though, will they?
Well, look.
Oh, they did.
People have been wanting
They
to-
did Blood Dragon. It was
Yeah,
a
but they
bit
have
of
done it, and they were shit as well.
It was a bit of a step in a weird direction. Like they could totally do that with a dinosaur.
Maybe that was them
theme.
trying to think, oh, what would the AI be like if we did actually put dinosaurs in here? We'll call them dragons, so we don't get people's hopes up too much. But
You think that was a test run for Far Cry Jurassic Park?
it might be.
I don't
Because
think so.
those dragons were shit. What did you have to do? You had to throw bait down and then they sort of ran. Oh,
Doesn't
rubbish.
Did you do that in Far Cry 4? Did you throw baits?
Yeah, but not.
Yeah, but different. It's
All
different.
right.
Essentially, someone needs to mod it. Just like don't count on the developer to do it. Count on someone going, this would be better with dinosaurs, isn't it? And then someone will make it.
That should just be a general rule about a lot of video games, really.
It is. Well, I mean,
This game would be better with dinosaurs. Just mod it.
yeah, GTA 5
Crusader
with
Kings 2.
dinosaurs. Exactly. Like Michael wakes up, he's like this is the reveal. Michael, no, you're in GTA Online. You wake up, you're in the shower. You go for a nice scotch at like 11:30.
Mm-hmm.
You walk out to that gigantic view that you've got over. Bang! T-Rex head just goes past.
Inception noise.
But the thing is,
Although you are like 30 floors up, and that makes no sense.
you're talking about the teleporting T-Rex that can climb 100-foot enclosures in Jurassic Park. I don't think we need to worry about that. And then the thing is, only make it happen for like 2 players, so that when they hit NeoGAF, they're like, "That's bollocks, mate.
You photoshopped that.
That's bollocks."
You photoshopped it.
Like if I was a film director, I think I've said this before. If I was directing the new Bond, I wouldn't tell the studio. I would I'd get all the actors and say, we're going to shoot an ending for this where Bond fucking dies while he's giving the big douche dead, and then just have that in one reel that goes out to one cinema. And you're like, I can't believe they killed James Bond. Like, don't make it unambiguous. Like his head gets cut off or some shit. It's like,
And someone looks at the camera and goes, James Bond is dead.
He's fucking dead.
You know, you're giving Kojima ideas right now.
Oh, God, yeah, that is a Kojima thing, isn't it?
But yeah, so just do something like that. Do something like that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Good.
I can do
Good.
that.
So yeah, Resident Evil Remake remaster. It's good so far. Not that I can say anything else.
Excellent.
I tried to go back to a game over the last week that I have very fond memories of.
Yeah.
Get some of that nostalgia going. Up in my
Neptune's
brain.
Pride.
World of Warcraft. I went
Really?
back to dabble with Warlords of Draenor. Everyone's saying it's the best expansion in years since Wrath of the Lich King, I think. And it's kind of like, you know, at the start of Gone Home, where she returns to her family house and like she knows, like a lot of it makes sense. It's where her family are. The pictures she knows, and like a lot of the things that feel really similar, but it's not her house, and she doesn't really know what's going on. It's a bit scary. That's kind of how it feels going back to World of Warcraft now. All the spells are different, and people are talking about stuff, raids that I don't understand, and places, and I don't know. I used to know everything about.
I mean,
that
you're
game.
talking to me, and I don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
You understand
So-
that World of Warcraft has spells, right? People cast and magic.
I know it had
use
raids.
abilities.
All I'm saying is that at least World of Warcraft's a game. Do you know what I mean?
Is it? Is it though? Or is it just a formula?
Time wasting simulator.
So they totally updated it. I saw they'd redone the graphics or something. with
They've
this
redone
one.
the character models, so a lot of they've introduced new races with
New
every
races?
expansion.
Oh
But
my life.
the original character models for the original races have never been changed up until now. You can there is an option in the menu that you can turn those off, so you can just have the original visual still, which I thought was quite nice. Because I don't know, I'm
nice to have the option, isn't it?
there's too much has changed. I can't deal with all
You
that.
don't like change?
I can't deal with it. I used to play a lot of the player versus player stuff in that game, which means you need to know exactly how everything works. Otherwise, it's like with a lot of competitive games, like with Dota and whatever, you need to know how all the
I understand.
characters function. I don't get any of it. None of it makes sense. They're all different. They've changed all of it.
Oh, right. They've all changed since you did it. Since you last played it.
Yeah, I mean,
right. I'm with you.
Yeah. So I've dabbled with every expansion. I think I always will, to be honest, just see what's going on.
I dabble.
But yeah, it seems the leveling stuff seems really good, but I don't know. I feel out of touch, and it's worrying me.
I mean, I don't know if anyone else in this room could possibly comment on World of Warcraft or ask or know
No.
what to ask you about it.
No.
Because
No, I wouldn't be able to answer. That's the problem. So yeah,
So-
I tried to go for a nostalgia trip this week, and it failed miserably. And now I'm just questioning everything about my past.
But did you
future.
enjoy it?
Yeah. What the guy I used to play Arena with was online.
Oh, he's been online for the last 10 years,
He's been waiting.
Fraz.
Been waiting. I had a bit of a chat. It was ni-
One day,
nice to
Christopher will
catch
come
up.
back.
It was good. Yeah. So it was, that's still nice.
Good.
All right. Now, Jim, say words. Say words.
So people
What
talk
about
about
what?
Ubisoft games.
Yeah.
Someone just mentioned
This is the
Far
Jim
Cry.
Ubisoft minute.
Get in there.
I'd like to talk about Ubisoft games as well when we're done.
I haven't. I started playing Far Cry 4, and then I started playing GTA 5, and that's all I've been doing.
I saw you mentioned Dragon Age. Have you messed around with the character creation or something? I saw you tweeting about it the other day.
Well, I was really
Yesterday, I
excited
think.
that you could play a lady Kunari,
Yes.
and that's my character choice. Decided,
Mm-hmm.
I want to be a big, fucking tall, badass woman and just goes around kicking shit out of everyone.
Yep, you can totally do that.
But then there was that news story yesterday about how somebody had recreated a really, really perfect recreation of Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones. I want to play as her now. So
Would she fit into the Dragon Age?
I don't care.
I guess you are
I'm just
forming
gonna
an army that's like
I'm just going to pretend that's the actress.
freaking everyone out. Yeah, maybe. Why not?
But yeah, I'm getting very excited about playing Inquisition.
I'm excited to talk to you about it.
Yeah, I've not started it yet. I started a new playthrough of Origins.
So many games.
I did my Dragon Age keep thing, so it's all ready.
Did that completely do a rubbish job of remembering what you actually did, and you had to change
it
everything?
did a terrible
Yeah.
job. I think you're right because you said it seems to take everything from your achievements.
I think that's with. I think it's slightly better with Dragon Age 2, maybe. But yeah, with Origins, it's
it's a
definitely
little bit, yeah.
that.
But it's
you have to go through everything again.
it's all this like trivia that I just couldn't remember. Like
I had to Wikipedia everything, and this is
like,
going to upset
did you collect 10 lyrium crystals for this prick? And I'm like, I can't fucking
Jim,
remember.
It won't. The little stuff doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It
No, I
does
can
an
ima- I
alright
can
job
imagine it doesn't.
of throwing back to various decisions you made.
I think what they've done is just done it, like taken every possible decision or every possible optional quest you can or can't do, and just have an option in there just in case it becomes relevant.
Something I did notice when you were doing it, which wasn't there when I was messing around with the keep, is that there's now a section for Inquisition that says coming soon.
Yes, yeah. Hopefully they've.
There's
With
gonna be another
Inquisition,
Dragon Age
they've
game.
sorted it out so that you don't have to dick about with the keep to get your choices in order.
Yeah, I don't know. Just
But like, yeah, I mean, but this kind of annoys me about BioWare because they're games that have a shared universe are so choice based and they really sell this idea of all the Mass Effect games took your choices and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But even like when you imported your character from Mass Effect to Mass Effect 2, the visuals were often fucked. So you had to fix it so she looked the same again. Sometimes your choices were different, like they didn't survive the transition, all that kind of nonsense. Same with, I mean, there were problems from Dragon Age to Dragon Age 2. They're now this is a sort of band-aid to fix problems from.
I think, to be honest, I think I like that. That's the way they're going. Obviously, we said the import stuff doesn't work, but having something separate where you can literally see all the decisions.
Yeah, I mean that's a good idea. So you're not sort of going in blind, so you can actually sort out. And if you remember, it's great that you can actually sort out what your world state is going to be. But it does kind of irritate me that BioWare haven't fucking locked that down and sorted it, because you should be able, because everything's online. We're all working on the Origin servers, no matter what version of the game you played. There should just be I guess when a system that saves it to the cloud.
When they made Dragon Age Origins,
what you did,
they didn't think that was ever going to happen, probably at least to this scale. It's going to be weird though. So in Inquisition, every game so far you've made big choices. Inquisition completely changes the world again, as these BioWare games tend to do. I don't know how the hell they're going to cope with that with the next Dragon Age game.
I cannot wait to get stuck into Inquisition. It's going to be my Christmas game.
It's a good Christmas game. Yeah, very good Christmas game. Lots of just random side stuff.
I'm going to take my time off. I'm going to completely ignore the kids and
go open your presents.
Just be like, look, Daddy's playing this.
He needs to do it for work.
I've spent money on you. It's under that tree. Have at it.
God, this takes me back. This takes me back.
What, 6 months?
A happy Christmas.
Wait, so are we to believe then that the Mass Effect and Dragon Age universes are in the same? Are they the same?
Shit, what if that's just in the future?
Well, no, they're not.
How do you know?
How do you know? Prove it.
How do you know? One's in the past, one's in the future.
Could be
because they reference each other in a way that makes no sense if they are in the same universe.
Then how do they know about each other?
Because they're made by the same people.
So they are in the same universe.
Like you can get like
I'm on your side.
In the Dragon Age universe, you can get there was that DLC. You can get Shepard armor, and it's like Sir Shepard, the brave knight.
Yeah, but that's just
I fucking hated how good. I generally hate how good pre-order items are in RPGs, because it means you end up having to wear that armor for a good while, a good portion of the game. And you're walking around looking a little bit like Commander Shepard.
Like a twat.
Yeah. You don't want to be doing that. You're a Grey Warden. Fucking act like it.
I do like how.
Sorry, Dave.
I've always said Dragon Age and Mass Effect, especially the first Mass Effect and the first Dragon Age, they are basically the same game. I love them both dearly, but it's the exact same setup, the exact same like bullshit fantasy, like ancient evil return story. Just it's different window dressing, but I love that about it. Any sort of fantasy quasi medieval setting, I always just imagine that it's part of the Stargate universe. It's just an undiscovered planet somewhere. Think that about Game of Thrones. Like the last episode of Game of Thrones, one of them was going to dig up a gate. And
it's a giant fuck you to it. That'd be amazing.
I've always wanted a series to do that. Just have nothing to do with Stargate for 7 years, and then the final episode, someone digs up a fucking
Jack O'Neill
Stargate.
just walks through.
Exactly. O'Neill walks through, and he's like, "Oh fuck, check out these ditties,"
and then just slays them all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, there's going to be a massive battle at the end of Game of Thrones, which will be rudely interrupted by a Stargate opening.
Teal'c
O'Neill's team running through, and Teal'c's like,
drop someone,
fucking get behind cover, start fucking staff blasting every cunt. That's what I want. That's how I want Game of Thrones to end. And the fact that George R. R. Martin started writing it before Stargate was a thing. Hasn't put me off at all, because I think that's the genius bit.
Yep.
I think
he's
thrown everyone off by writing his secret Stargate spin-off before Stargate.
How do you know
existed.
he didn't write Stargate?
Well, we don't, do we?
Exactly.
We don't at all.
Exactly.
So but yeah, I like to think everything's in the Stargate universe.
I know you do.
Even
Well, like
Dragon Age is just another planet.
Isn't
somewhere.
there that theory in television that every show is part of the St. Elsewhere universe?
Yes, yeah, the Tommyverse, because there were so many crossovers, and it turned out at the end of St. Elsewhere that Tommy this sort of little autistic boy had dreamt the whole thing. The entire series up to that point was just a dream. Or his little sort of internal fantasy world, and
you can't still end
Elsewhere,
stories by saying, and then he woke up. It was all a
no,
dream.
it wasn't that. It was more that it wasn't like it was just a dream. It was more that this is a fantasy, an internalized fantasy that this little autistic boy had, and the actual hospital St. Elsewhere was a building in a snow globe that he had, and it was all very it was a load of shite. But because up until that point, because St. Elsewhere crosses over with so many other TV shows that also cross over with other TV shows. Characters appear and stuff like
that.
There's
going to be like a snow globe there somewhere with a Stargate in it.
Yeah, totally. You've got Law and Order. I'm pretty sure. I mean, which crosses over into CSI, doesn't it? And X-Files. And from there, you just get you branch out into everything. So every show that's ever referenced any other show. I mean, it's just a big, massive change. So basically, every TV show ever made occurs in the mind of a wee autistic boy in the 80s.
He needs to start claiming those royalties.
Totally.
Because he is owed some money at least.
And it's like I looked at the chart once, and I mean this thing is really old. I mean there'll be people listening to this going, yeah, fucking hell, I know that. But on the chart, there's stuff like Red Dwarf as well, just because Red Dwarf once referenced Saint Elsewhere in a joke. Star Trek's in there. I'm pretty sure Stargate's in there at some point because you got the MacGyver connection, same actor. Yeah.
What's your favourite sci-fi TV show, Dave?
Is it one of those XXX parodies, Dave?
Without a doubt.
What was that one?
Deep Space 69.
That was better than mine.
I don't know. I don't know.
Come on, Dave, you must know.
The one that was set underwater.
Sequest DSV. Dave.
That's really weird. I feel like you just said that.
Yeah. Is that the one with a dolphin? Do you have a dolphin?
That's the one with a dolphin, yeah.
That's the one I
You're
remember
either thinking
best.
of that or you're thinking of Johnny Mnemonic.
And it had a little yellow thing.
Yeah,
a little yellow thing. Did they sit on it,
Johnny
or did they hold
Mnemonic.
it, or what? I don't know what they did.
It was like Star Trek in the sea.
Yeah, with dolphins.
Yeah.
That was good.
It was like Star Trek in the sea.
Yeah, that's fucking what it was.
How does that work?
Because the ship and they explored and they had a crew and they did away missions and it was Star Trek underwater.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, Star Trek itself was basically fucking 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea in space, so it's sort of a nice inversion of that.
I don't watch men. You know what? The one I like the best. What was the one?
Jesus
the
Christ.
dinosaurs.
I really regret.
Yudamama, whatever he says.
Isn't that just called
Yudamama.
Dinosaurs?
Dinosaur. Do you remember it?
Jesus, what was that?
Yudamama.
What just happened?
The little baby.
Wasn't
where it was
that just
essentially
called
Roseanne,
dinosaurs?
but with dinosaurs.
I don't know what you mean.
You know what I'm talking about. The show Roseanne with the Roseanne Bar and John Goodman. But it was that with dinosaurs.
It was just yeah.
I thought it was more like the Flintstones, but from the other side.
It was, sort of, yeah. They had humans and dinosaurs that were like primitives, and used to be like, damn humans in my garbage. But like
that was great.
Dinosaur. I was told for years that the final episode of Dinosaurs had this ecological message where basically the dinosaurs had fucked with the world so much, and that's how they got. That's how they became extinct because essentially, like they made a volcano erupt or some bullshit.
Classic.
Something, like they caused their own destruction. And it was this kind of really kind of hackneyed, obvious environmental
Don't
message.
fuck up the planet.
And
planet
people
will
were
fuck you
saying
up.
it's actually quite touching because the family are in the house and then they've still got the baby and stuff, and they just accept that their fate that they are as a species are dead by their own hand. And then Dinosaurs appeared on Netflix years later after I heard about this.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. I put it onto the final episode. None of this happens.
What?
Of course it doesn't.
So I don't know where that came from. I don't know if it's just incomplete on Netflix or what. But I think people are telling porkies.
Well,
I'm sure people in the comments will be.
Speaking
able
of
to
historical dinosaur allegations, I think we need to.
Is that what we're talking about?
Well, I think we need to get you three to have a quick look at Denver. I mean, we've all seen Denver, The Last Dinosaur.
The Last Dinosaur, yeah.
Yeah. You know, I was watching that, and it was a bit shit at the time.
I thought you were going to bring up Barney.
No,
I was just thinking Barney.
No, Barney. We're going to bring up the Denver, The Last Dinosaur. He's my friend, and a whole lot more. No, I'm sure that is the line from the little thing at the start, the theme.
Yeah, the theme.
My friend and a whole lot. Yeah,
exactly. I mean,
he's wearing Hawaiian shirts and shades and shit, and he's basically a 65 million year old man hanging about with a bunch of fucking kids
and being more than friends.
Yes,
according to their own testimony.
Are we still on a video games podcast? I'm very confused.
Yeah, but it's the week of dinosaurs, isn't it? If you want, Dave, I can say that while I was watching that, I think immediately after watching it, I would play on my Master System like that fucking insanely difficult Mickey Mouse game.
Talking of Master System, this is something Tom wanted me to discuss with you guys.
That's handy.
Right.
I invented Let's Plays.
You invented Let's Plays.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I used to rent Master System games and Mega Drive games from Blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd have a little portable TV in my bedroom, and I'd get my dad to set my camcorder up.
Why did you have a camcorder, Dave?
Everyone had a camcorder in the 90s, Burns.
Dave, that's just not true.
Yeah, this is just so much. Dave,
Let's see where
Dave, hold on. People didn't have camcorders. Not everyone had one because Manchester United's away kit had to actually say ViewCam on it to advertise camcorders. If everyone had a camcorder, no one would need advertising.
And they had proper tapes in them and everything. It was great. The
Hold on, did
awesome.
they have mini DV or did they have big, like...
Oh, it wasn't like a VHS size thing.
So is that one that you slotted into an actual VHS one and then put in there?
It was mini DV either.
No, it's the middle one. I know.
It would have been high 8.
Possibly high 8, yeah.
So you invented Let's
So
Plays.
I would camcord me play because I'd know that I'd have to take these games back to Blockbuster after a couple of days. I'd be like, but what if I want to go back and revisit these games in the future? Well, I'll just record what I've played and I can watch them on a video.
That sounds illegal.
At a later date.
Were you fucking listening to Goodbye Horses at this point?
Was there any? Were you commentating over the top? Because if not, you've got some serious issues with fair use there.
I'm not sure if I was. I have to be honest, I don't know.
Of course he was commentating.
There'd be a copyright strike inbound.
But there was, going back to the Flintstones, I recorded the Flintstones game. I think that was on the Master System.
Have you still got these?
I think I still have the video.
Are you in
somewhere.
shot for these, Dave?
Huh?
Are you in shot for these?
I don't know. I might be. I'm not sure.
There's definitely commentary. There's definitely a little Dave going, frame rate's dog shit.
I'm going to have to try and find them because they
Find
were
them,
great.
Dave.
Yeah,
Find
that would
them
be amazing.
immediately.
Yeah, yeah. There's like was it Quack Tales or Quack Attack? One of those.
Quack Shot?
Jeez.
Quack Shot. That was it. Yeah.
Those are just going on the YouTube channel.
You could
Raw.
have been massive. You could have done
I
it.
must have been about 7 or 8 years old, and it was glorious.
Well, what was that TV show about the kid that made he made a video game, he was about 15, and he made a fighting game, and he became a millionaire, and then a big Japanese game developer came to his house to talk to him about it, and the kid says, "Are you a millionaire?" And he says, "Yes, many times over." And he says it with like a look of utter disdain.
I feel like this is a dream that you had.
It's not. It's definitely
and you
not.
were the kid.
Now, trust me, I have imagined a lot of things which turned out to be, just that. But this definitely happened because it was on about the same time as that fucking Zap shit. Do you remember that? Like,
I don't.
Well, the CITV comic thing.
yeah, which
was just piss.
Yeah, I was like, as you probably know, if you listen to this a lot, I was living abroad. We had one television channel at this point, SSTV. I think that's what it's called.
Secret Service television.
Exactly. Shit, I've given the game away. Oh, no. This ejector seat's not working. But yeah, it was by the British Armed Forces would collate the best bits of British television.
You were in Germany watching SSTV.
And put them
you
all
know
into...
how that sounds, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I've never really thought about that.
Come on, carry on.
And,
this is classic Burns. This is where it all stems from.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And it was on there. It fucking was on there. But then we got Sky, so, everything was
changed.
fine. Yeah. Well, the first thing I ever saw on Sky was Macho Man Randy Savage. I came home from school.
Oh,
my dad was like, "Steve, don't worry. We've got Sky now." And I was like, "Put it on Sky 1. There was Randy Savage and fucking Superstars of Wrestling or whatever." I'm like, yeah. No, I've actually not been as happy as that ever, I think.
Oh.
I've been playing a lot of Far Cry 4.
Dave, we talked about this. There aren't any dinosaurs there.
Yeah, that's literally as far as we got. And then we talked about BioWare. Sorry, go on.
I don't know how much you spoke about it last week, so I don't want to go into it too much.
We talked mainly about the secret ending, not secret, kind of special ending at the beginning.
We're not talking about that. Spoilers. I'm getting a bit tired of the campaign missions and their structure. In that each time it seems to be, well, you can choose to do this guy's mission, this, and choose that moral choice, or this girl's mission, choose her moral choice. But each time, there's something they haven't told you. And you're like, well, I chose that decision thinking I was doing the right thing. Actually, what's happened is I've screwed everyone else over.
Well, I think that's the whole
Isn't that
point.
kind of good?
No, and that's fine doing it once. That's fine doing it once. I get it. But every time that happens, and it's like, well, actually, if you'd have done the other thing, this would have worked out better for you. And it's like, well, now I'm just going to deliberately choose the other thing And that will happen.
And that's what I want you to do, and then you'll end up doing the bad stuff anyway. It's a message.
But it's not, though, is
about
it?
decisions.
It's not, because there's no... I don't know.
Is it?
It's like it wants you to be good or bad, but it's blending the lines between what is good and what is bad. But it's like you can entirely see through it. If at the end of the game it had gone, you do realise that by doing that, this happened, I'd be more up for it. But each time you do it, it's like, idiot.
Have you finished it?
No, not yet. No.
Okay. Well, the choices are, I mean, they're interesting. They're interesting in that you don't now have two opposing factions. You now have to choose the path for which the faction you are definitively aligned with has to go. So it's like being like Scottish Labour at the moment.
You're determining the future of the country, aren't you, essentially?
But yeah, I do see what you mean. The choice between Amita and Sabal's, they're not grey enough, I think. It's like, so Amita wants to enslave essentially Karat and turn it into like the new Colombia, so it's all drug and infrastructure is based around that. And you're like, that sounds a bit bad. And then you go to Sabal's missions and he's like, yes, I want to bring back, traditional values like tilling the land and living in harmony. And then Amita goes, but that also includes like traditions like marrying 8-year-old girls or something. Like, well, I can't get behind that. So it's like, there's no grey area between the two. Both of them are into really bad shit, and you've got to decide whether it's drug peddling or marrying underage girls. I'm like, probably the drug peddling. I'll get behind that.
It's like the Far Cry 3 story was basically about the road to hell being paved with good intentions, and Far Cry 4 is the road to hell being paved with shit intentions. So,
or intentions of any sort.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean, Dave. I don't think that they're handled anywhere near as well as they could have been.
I'm still enjoying it. It's just that if it keeps doing that, I'm going to be like, oh.
There are only 4 instances of those,
okay.
so you've probably done a couple so
I've
far.
done 2 or 3. I can't remember how many.
Then there'll be
to be honest,
towards the end.
I'm sticking with Amita because she looks like she's got her head on her fucking shoulders. That other guy.
Sabal's such a whiner.
Yeah.
And stop calling me brother. Like, you're not Liquid Snake.
I've started doing that. I've been watching Sons of Anarchy, and I keep slipping brother into sentences and feeling really shit about it.
I'm still enjoying Far Cry a lot, though. I do it, and there's a lot more to do than Far Cry 3 as well. Like, loads.
Far Cry 4 is a fucking triumph. I love it.
Yeah,
I think it's great.
I think people that have said that it's
shut up, Bratters.
Let's start again. What it does for me is that it reroutes all of the side shit into your actual minute-to-minute activities. That's why it's better than the usual Ubisoft Watch Dogs sort of thing. Is that
it's probably the best Ubisoft game this year.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Like I haven't
finished Assassin's Creed.
I mean, but that is quite a thing to say because Ubisoft have released about 12 million games this year.
Yeah, so, pretty much. It's really good.
It's definitely better than the 2 Assassin's Creeds that have come out.
Right.
IMHO, but
in my honest opinion,
they've been humble opinion.
Humble, is it? All right. Changes everything.
But they've been. But I've really liked the big the Assassin's Creeds and that this year.
Well, there is one more big Ubisoft game still left.
Is it big?
I mean, I think they would see it as being a big game.
Assassin's Car.
Should we talk about that a bit?
Why not?
The whole review thing that's going on.
Sure, yes. I don't really know much about it. I've been at the office.
Drive up the towers.
Yeah,
that is actually almost true, isn't it? There are towers in the game that unlock.
I mean, you drive to them and then it unfogs a bit of the map, and you're just like, right, okay.
Ubisoft has a major problem with communication, and this has been the case all year. And so yesterday they put a blog post out saying that reviews for the game, for the crew, won't go live until after release, essentially, because
because the servers won't be online, right? That was
they didn't say that in the original message.
Right.
They said because reviewers were getting copies on launch day. That's what they said. So the way that they've worded it, of course, people going it's after this Assassin's Creed Unity stuff. Yeah. Now, I'm going to caveat this at home. Please don't see any of this as me defending Ubisoft or being on their side or whatever, because I think all that Unity stuff was bullshit. I'm I'm against post-release review embargoes and all that things, anti-consumer, agree entirely.
Absolutely.
The thing about the crew is, and this may work in their favour because I don't know if it will score particularly highly, but I don't know how we could possibly review a game like The Crew pre-release anyway, especially after Drive Club and Halo and things like that that's happening. And there's a lot of fuss at the moment. People aren't happy. They think, it's Ubisoft again trying to cover up a shit game. That's the accusation by not letting reviewers play it early and all that. But I don't know. Even if Ubisoft had given us the game a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I don't know if we'd have actually had a review up for release anyway, right? Because we may have had impressions, but we can. What they didn't say in that original blog post, we can actually give you impressions the day before launch. We can do it from the Monday because the servers go up on the Monday, and there's no embargo whatsoever from what we've been told. So when we get the copy on Monday, the servers goes live at 11. We can start telling you what we think as soon as we're playing it at that point.
So what is the multiplayer side of the crew? Is that?
Well, they're classing it as an MMO,
right?
So
okay,
it is.
Yeah, sort of.
And it you can't play it offline. You have to have
there is a really solid argument for the crew being like you can't review that game without also kind of reviewing the community side of it, because that is the game.
And I mean, let's say Ubisoft gave us access to the servers with limited amount of people pre-release. I mean, would that have been fair? I mean, that's what happened with Drive Club. Yep. We had access to public servers pre-release, and then it completely fell apart. So I don't really know what the argument is here. Like, I get it from all sides. I understand every side, but I'm not sure they completely.
Well, Destiny
up.
was the same, right?
Well, exactly. And Destiny got away with that because of the game that it was. But I think this time it's so soon after the Assassin's Creed Unity controversy,
and so soon after Halo and Drive Club, as you mentioned before.
And I just think
it's difficult.
I think the way that Ubisoft put that initial blog post out, I mean, they created their own controversy because they didn't need to say some of the things that they said, essentially.
I mean, even with another example of GTA Online as well. I mean, when Steve was testing it, it was working pretty much fine. And then when we sat down to do that video yesterday, we just had a horrible experience. And some people have commented saying that experience in that we showed in the video reflects what they've had.
I think GTA Online in particular is really, it's so inconsistent. Like,
it's really fickle.
People seem to be
sometimes, like the night before we did that video, I had like a proper 3-hour session on it, went without a hitch at all. So,
I mean, I get the argument. Ubisoft aren't sending copies out far enough in advance to reviewers. There's not going to be that opinion on day one. And I understand that, but at least this time, you guys know that. Like, not you guys in the room, but you guys at home know. There won't be opinions day one. Maybe if you want a professional, unbiased look at that game, hold out a couple of days, or go and play the beta that's out at the moment, because that'll probably give you a good indication of how good it is. I've played the beta. Probably won't play the final game. Simple as. If you want my pre-launch opinion,
I don't think I'd play it. I play enough of it.
No, that's unfair. I will play it because that's what I do. I play these things because.
To be honest, I think the road trip video we did has been it was so much fun to do that I think I've had my fill of the game. I think nothing will ever top that.
I haven't really been following this game. I'm not massively into driving games, but I
thought the cars and that,
I thought The Crew was a game about road tripping around America.
Well, that's the thing.
And it's actually so it's got the whole MMO side to it, but also it's got some kind of story going through it about you're a criminal, or your brother's a criminal.
Yeah, you go to jail and your brother is also in jail.
But how does that fit into just driving around America and having a nice time?
Because they think, we've got to have a story, because otherwise people might...
They've tried to make it like Fast and Furious.
Can't the story just be, we're going for a nice drive now?
Well, you would hope so, wouldn't you?
So fucking brat, that comment.
But there've been other games like this, like Burnout Paradise and Test Drive Unlimited. They didn't have all this story wank to it.
They didn't give a fuck, mate. They started you off and went, go on then. Also, speaking of that, again, back to it, only for a little while though. Resident Evil Remake, I'm not sure how it's going to go down with people who haven't played it originally or are used to the massive hand-holding and tutorializing of video games. Because it just starts you and says... Go on then. Even the difficulty setting is phrased not as an easy, medium, or hard, but as a set of 3 questions. It's like your difficulty. Do you like mountain climbing, bike riding, or hiking?
Are you serious?
So you start the game. After a few minutes, it just goes off you go. It's great. It's like doesn't tell you how to fire your gun.
People love that though.
What does that tell you? What does mountain
climbing is more difficult than hiking. Bike riding's probably in the middle. I don't know.
So hang on.
So it asks you
if you like biking or hiking or mountain climbing or.
So you pick your character. So you pick Jill or Chiller Cruise. De facto, those are easy and hard.
Yeah.
And then after that, there's another screen that's it looks like a sign-up sheet in a police department's activities thing.
Yep.
And it's like Raccoon PD. I think it says something about difficulty to let you know. And it's like, which of these statements sums you up best? It's like, I'd prefer mountain climbing. It's difficult to reach.
I see. So there's some context to what it's asking.
It's like, it's still, it's
Is there no option for like a nice relaxing bath?
Yeah. Well, I think the easy
Game over.
soak.
I think easy what is called for people who just enjoy the experience. But even then, it's not like it doesn't explicitly say it in a game that explicitly says nothing. So there were people going, like, there's a bit where you have to get you get a jewelry box to get into the last third of the game. You get this jewelry box, and you're like, okay, well, I'll just open the jewelry box. It's like, no, you can't open that jewelry box. It's like the only clue of how to open it's not a key. It's a 2 centimeter in diameter indentation. You're like, all right, brilliant. Now you have to put a little jewel in it. But what if you've not picked up the jewel? Fucked. See you later.
That's the thing with Resi. Like, I don't think I'd have the patience for that. We're like, oh, I missed that thing about 3 hours ago. Right. Okay. Yeah. See you later. Right, as you're looking lost, mate. You're looking down at your sheet of paper thinking, where do we go next? How do I turn this?
Not
turn
quite.
this around.
I was just thinking which questions might be good.
Are we on to questions now?
I think so. We're at the hour mark.
Smashing.
Let's do it.
I would say so.
All right, good.
Before we go on to questions, did you know that McDonald's has brought back their festive menu?
Why are you like this? Why
I saw it on my way in, and I'm thinking...
Yeah, but Dave, yesterday you
coming up
thought
to
there was a
lunchtime.
secret Big Mac menu.
No, Jim showed me this. The Monster Mac. Dave, go into McDonald's, ask for a Monster Mac. They will sort you out.
Do you have to wink when you say it?
There's a secret McDonald's menu.
Did your uncle who works at Nintendo and McDonald's tell you this?
This was on a website. If you ask for a Monster Mac, they give you like a Big Mac.
Like
But it's got like
819.
fucking 12 patties in it.
What website was this?
It looks like a sandwich from fucking Scooby Doo.
It's amazing.
Loadofbollocks.com.
I don't.
Wasn't it? It was like it was a paper, wasn't it? That you linked me. Wasn't it a newspaper website?
How did he link you to a newspaper?
What is this?
Essentially, you can.
So me and Dave were taking substances yesterday.
But you can, as much as you can go into McDonald's and ask for no gherkin, I'm sure you can ask for a bigger Big Mac. You just have to pay for the 2 parts, and then
Yeah, but how do they define the payment? Like, how do they go? All right, 1 pack.
Can't you just buy 2 Big Macs?
Because they
and put
don't
them on top
break
of each
it
other?
down.
Isn't that what you're doing?
yeah.
Can't you just get them
Imagine
just
going
like
into McDonald's and being like, "Can I get a Big Mac?" But no, listen.
I've been reading.
I want 9 patties instead of the standard 2 or 4 or whatever the fuck it is.
I'm not in Britain. That might not fly, but in American McDonald's, you could kick off. You could go, "What is this fucking communist?"
Was it Doug Stanhope says the American breakfast is choice? So you can have whatever the fuck
That
you
sounds
want.
like a fucking McDonald's slogan, doesn't it?
It does it. All right.
So
I'm getting McDonald's for lunch.
do you know what? Do you know the one thing I miss
look like you
about
want
the
to
one
ask
thing
me
I
a
miss about LA? Is fucking Denny's. Love that place so
Denny's
much.
was good.
This is.
I don't like Denny's. Sorry. I mean, it's okay, but it's just not. Their bacon is shit house.
I'll never forget the egg scenario.
We don't need to go into the egg scenario.
So we'll save it for next week.
Yeah,
there'll be like a nice
a great
thing.
story that will.
Yeah.
We'll all look forward to it.
Yeah.
Very
So many eggs. I've never seen so
will be
many
hanging
eggs.
on
Okay,
for
you've
that.
told the story
Exactly.
now. That was the story. Okay.
Comments will be full of the fucking. What about the fucking eggs? What happened with the
Another
eggs?
example of Brett censoring Scammell. Happens all the time.
Just protein and man and stuff. I don't know what's going on.
Wow, Dave.
Tom Bickmore asks, could Dark Souls 2 Next Gen be the version of the game we all expected?
No, absolutely not.
What have I seen online, David Scammell, about some suggestion that this new version of Dark Souls 2, if you want to get it on the PC, you have to pay for it again?
Shit, I knew I had a news story to do this morning. You're absolutely right,
Sorry,
Brad.
Scammell.
But yes,
The prices haven't been confirmed or anything, but if you
apparently it
already own,
has. Oh, sorry, not the prices. No, but
but the actual, if you already own the PC version of Dark Souls 2, it's not going to be a free upgrade.
So you want the DX11 version?
yeah. So
You have to pay money.
Yes.
Someone will mod that in seconds. Like what?
I know.
Yeah. I know.
So yeah, they're defining the original version as the DirectX 9 version apparently, and
That's
the
piss.
the new upgrade, visual upgrades at least, are the DX11
It's not going to be that original render, though, is it? Like,
what, the original like, lighting mechanics and things like that? I doubt it. Because their excuse, because this kicked off a big fuss when it came out in March, right? Oh, the lighting's not what it was in the gameplay footage. And yeah. But they said at the time, because they had to balance it all. And this went into balancing the gameplay and all that, cutting all that shit out. It's like, so I doubt whether that will also be in the next gen version, because otherwise it will unbalance all that
new gen, Dave.
gameplay.
New gen.
All right, whatever.
When you say next gen.
I said next gen in the question. I think that's where
new
the
gen
confusions come from. All right.
In gen.
People get very excited about
Jurassic
Dark Souls. Also, Bloodborne's out a month before that, so
It is, isn't it? Jeez. Yeah.
I wonder if that was part of the deal that From Software may have had, is that they had to have a next gen
New gen.
Souls-like.
New gen.
All right, new gen Souls-like, if that's what we're going to call it.
Okay.
I just made that up.
No, that's fine.
I know Souls-like. We've been saying
Have we
Souls-like
said that
since
before?
Lords of the Fallen.
All right.
It's all right. It's legit.
Before they could re-release.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that would be part
It's
of
a
the
good
deal or
job
not.
Lords of the Fallen came out before these two things, right?
Well,
That would have been tricky. Okay. Gene S has 2014 been the best year ever for video games? If not, which one will 2015 be better with its current lineup of games?
To be honest, I think we've been
2004.
I think we've been in a fucking golden
1998
age
or 2004.
for ages.
Jim, I completely missed all of that.
Sorry, we were having a conversation on Twitter with someone about this yesterday. I honestly think we've been in a golden age for fucking years, and it's not stopping. Like every year, there's amazing shit coming out. It's brilliant.
And not just amazing shit, but the way it's distributed, which is a weird thing to say. But Steam, mobile, everything. People talk about golden ages. They generally, like we just did, Dave, talk about 2004, 2004, everything. 1998, loads of really cool shit like that line that Half-Life isn't the best game of all time. It's not even the best game that came out that week in 1998 because Ocarina of Time came out on the Friday or whatever.
Nice.
But I think you're absolutely right, Jim, is that you've got to stop thinking about it in terms of years, especially with the development cycles the way they are, and start thinking about in terms of stretches or eras.
Because it's all coming to an end. This age will eventually implode.
I mean, everything's breaking now. That's how the world will end. Like, I don't know, Drive Club 2 will come out and it just won't even
And the
boot
multiplayer will
up.
be fucked.
There won't be a Drive Club 2, Dave. Come on now. There's barely a Drive Club.
Go on, say it. Say it, birds.
There's barely a Drive Club.
There we are. That's it. Good zing. All right. Well, that was way more
Almost
optimistic than I was
toys by your own
expecting.
petard there.
Yeah, but why is that a thing? Why are all games broken now?
They're not all broken.
Yeah, but a lot of the AAA... Like,
Dragon Age Inquisition is a fine game that works, although it did have
Let's
some
go through
issues
games.
before a little
Let's go
patch.
through games.
Apart from when you reviewed it and said, no, there are some big issues in
So
there.
start with Battlefield 4. Then there was a bit of a break. Games were good again for a while at launch. And then suddenly, you've got Drive Club, you've got Halo, you've got GTA Online.
WoW had
you've got
a dodgy
Assassin's
few
Creed
days.
Unity, which is, got all sorts of problems. Any more?
WoW had a few
I think that-
bad days. I think it was like
WoW?
5 days. It was
the expansion pack?
Yeah, overloaded.
So that's a 5. I'm sure I'm missing loads more. But
Destiny.
What's going on?
Destiny was alright. Actually, wasn't
Destiny
it?
was
Far Cry 4 on PCs apparently not doing it.
Yeah.
That's true.
But I think that it's like anything, once you dial the level of complexity up, more bad shit's going to happen. That's just simple. That's just maths.
yeah, but that doesn't mean it's acceptable.
It's not acceptable, but that you're going to have to get used to the fact that if you like a lot of it is due to really fucking obvious shit. Like now every fucking cunt in the market has got their own distribution service and all of this sort of like, Uplay's fucked up again. It's like obviously because you play shit.
There have been a bunch of games that have tried to get out for the Christmas market here that should probably have.
But this is what I'm just
been
going
held
to...
back.
I was going to go on to, like, Assassin's Creed Unity. Like, this patch... When did that game come out? 2 weeks ago, maybe?
More than that, I think, isn't it?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
It was 2 weeks yesterday,
Was it
maybe,
2
wasn't
weeks?
it?
Yeah.
Like, so they've got a patch. They've got a patch coming out today. They've already had one patch. They've got a
Every
patch
day's
coming out
Assassin's
today
Creed Day,
that has over 300 fixes in it. Now they already delayed that game once.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just delay it by another 3 weeks and have all those in there from day one? Then they would have all that embarrassment about the no face monster and all that sort of shite. That would never have been a thing. Like they risk their reputation for
Honestly,
sake through.
I've played so much Assassin's Creed in the last month or so that I keep looking at buildings and imagining climbing them. I can't,
Wow, like that you're that depressed. Fuck, man, that's just horrible.
It's just two almost full fat Assassin's Creed games. And I mean, to be honest, Unity has so much stuff in it that it's bigger than any other Assassin's Creed game. Rogue had quite a lot in it as well, and it's just like,
I thought smaller Rogue.
Smaller in terms of its main story, because the main story is about half the length of a normal Assassin's Creed game, but it's got the same amount of side stuff. It's got like 3 times as much area as Black Flag, and I reached a point where I was playing Unity in my house, and this is well after the review and everything went up, about a week ago, I think. And eventually something just broke in my brain, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. I've done too much. And
why are you playing it?
Then you went to play Far Cry 4. Now you're playing Far Cry 4.
And then the very next, I was doing co-op with
Rogue.
people. But then the very next game I went on to was Far Cry 4.
And you're going to do
Far Cry 3 Brotherhood.
You're going to do Inquisition next as well, which has got lots of that in as well.
Yeah, but you're going to enjoy that.
I'm going
to love Inquisition. I can't fucking wait for Inquisition, because that's what the new gen, the current gen has been was missing for a while. It's like a good proper meaty RPG to get into. Because I was seeing the Burns the other day about how I think the proper start of the last gen was Oblivion. Because it actually it was actually doing things that the previous gen couldn't do. It had a massive wow factor. It was this big, fully explorable, massive open world, and it was so immersive. It was so incredible. And
you played Oblivion on a console, did you? Yeah.
No, I played it on PC.
Right. Okay, fair enough.
Shut up. But it felt like the PS4 and the Xbox One were missing that big kind of wow moment. I think every cycle needs this moment when you get out of the sewers and see the open world, and you're like, fuck me.
I think if Far Cry 3 wasn't a thing, Far Cry 4 may have been that game.
Possibly. Yeah. But I was going to suggest that I don't think this gen is going to properly kick off until we've got Fallout 4.
It's talking of broken games, though. Going back again, apparently the last gen versions of Dragon Age, people on Twitter are telling us are.
I keep meaning to find out what that's like.
Yeah,
I haven't heard.
We don't have it, do we? We don't have the old gen versions.
No,
it's That sucks. I
don't know any more than what they were saying.
The great thing about Inquisition is at this stage now the new gen consoles. I said new gen, and the PC version. They all are great versions of the game to play. It's just everyone says that, and it's like, oh wait a minute, it's also been released on those other ones.
Well, it's like Mordor, right? Mordor came out on last gen last week. I mean, we heard that they said originally that the Nemesis system had been entirely
severely cut down.
Don't know.
So with Inquisition, as far as I was aware, the last gen versions, the main difference was going to be the number of loading screens.
I mean,
the big areas are going to be split up.
I think your Shadow of Mordor, your Dragon Age for last gen, those are just thrown bones now. I mean, those are going to be the last few Mordor, things that come out.
The Nemesis system was the key part.
What is that game without it?
Well, the Nemesis system.
I don't know if it hasn't got it. Like they said that it would be stripped down, but I don't know how much. It's got a very stripped down version. Like it might be a baked in version rather than a procedural one or something. I don't know. Yeah. But
I think the old days of Mega Drive getting really stripped down shit in your face last gen.
But you're totally right though, because without the Nemesis system as it is in the versions that we've tested, Mordor is just a very, very average game. It's the Nemesis system that brings it definitely. From a 7 to a 9. It's brilliant. If you've got a version of that game,
is a very average game. Or a very average game is a 7.
Or a 6 or whatever.
What is going on?
You've got to question these things, otherwise people get angry.
No, I agree with you, Dave. Next question. Is this what... Right, I've got a question. Are we going to McDonald's for lunch?
I am.
Well, there you go. Next question, please, browser.
Saris91 made a new account on the VideoGamer forums to ask us a question.
Okay, good man.
He or she asked, so I've been playing Rugby 15 on the PlayStation 4.
Oh, yeah.
I got to the end of the 80 minutes. Is that how long a rugby game lasts?
Yep.
And the game sort of freezes, and I have to quit. Surely this isn't right. Sad face. I paid £55 for the game last night.
You've just realised that you've
£55.
Is that a digital price, maybe?
Well, this is weird because they told us the distributor of this game, told us that it wasn't actually coming out till January. And then last week, it showed up on PlayStation blog, it was coming out on Friday. So I checked with them again. I was like, is this game out on Friday? Because it was originally meant to be out this year. They're like, no, it definitely isn't out until January. And then suddenly, Friday, it appeared on Xbox One and PS4.
You sneaky rugby bastards.
And, yeah, something like that. And apparently it's not very good. Or it doesn't even work, according to this
I
person.
don't really know what... I guess the question is this right?
Isn't
it's
the download size really small in that game as well?
Yeah,
I'm sure I read
tweeted
something
that.
that was like...
It's like 2 gig.
2 gig, yeah. And
2.7 or something.
It was just
We should look into this.
Something about
We've got to find out what's going
it
on.
probably doesn't have the fidelity you'd expect from
Maybe we'll have to spend £55
This is like
of our
Ashes
own
cricket
money.
all over again.
Do you remember that?
No, it was terrible.
I'll never forget.
Ashes cricket was
So,
great.
no, that's not right. And can you get your money back? Surely it's defective product.
Look at that.
You should be able to, yeah, of course.
It's the winter warmer with cheese and bacon.
Oh my life, that's happening.
Treat yourself to beef, bacon and cheese, all brought together in a flour-topped snowflake bun.
That's like a big tasty.
Stop it. My stomach just rumbled. I don't even like McDonald's that much. Adam asks, have you ever dreamt about Cliffy B? And that's going to be the final question of this podcast, because you guys are getting out of hand.
No.
What was that?
Have you ever dreamt about Cliffy B?
No.
Dave?
Maybe.
I'm going to go with no.
No.
Thank you very much for listening to the Video Gamer UK podcast this week. It's been a pleasure. You're great.
You're a
and
tyrant,
You
Brett.
guys are great as well.
Is that it?
I think so,
It's
yeah.
this is an abrupt end, isn't it?
Well,
Have you got something to do? Do you need a piss or something?
We were
What's
going to do some
happening?
questions, and you just started talking about McDonald's.
Come on, let's do questions then.
I've asked most of the...
You haven't. You've asked. I'll ask some questions.
That's right. Well, this is unprofessional, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've lost control,
I've
Brad.
been usurped. God damn it. I just call myself the king, by the way. So,
Technically a guest and you have failed to control me.
No, you were right. We've already covered all those.
What a shit end to the podcast. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.